If you have bad credit, chances are a lot of lenders don't want to talk to you. A lot of credit card issuers don't want to talk to you. But the good thing is that you can actually go to a credit union and they'll take care of you. It's all about having the right relationship. So don't you actually don't be desperate that, I have bad credit. I can't really get a credit card and whatnot. No, you can get a loan. You can get a credit card. In today's conversation, I want to talk to you about the credit union personal loan with bad credit. What are the steps you need to actually take if you want to get a massive loan amount? Okay, we're not talking about $1,000 or $500. No, we're talking about 4-digit, 5-digit. Okay, so here are the steps I want you to follow right now. The first thing you want to do here is, and before you even start anything, before you start your research, I want you to go back and really check your credit score. Okay, and the cool thing is that you don't have to pay for it. And the thing is, sometimes people say, well, I checked my credit score last month. Okay, I checked my credit score last week. Do you know that credit scores change all the time, boss? And that's kind of crazy. I mean, you're like, last month I was at 575, so I don't think things that moved that much. How do you know? So you really have to check your credit score and reports. Credit score and credit reports. You got to check those two. What I'm trying to say here is that, listen, if you are 625, let's say you are 625, okay? And last month you are at 600. So you gained 25 points. But the question is, where did those 25 points come from? Is it because you're a responsible card user, or because you're responsible or something else happened? Okay. So you really want to understand what is contributing to your credit score. This is why you got to check your credit reports also, okay? This is something that a lot of folks don't do. Like, people just are interested in the number, the magic number. Yeah, I am at 575. I'm at 675. Hey, listen, I'm at 800. And so what? What contributed to that credit score? This is foundational. This is important. So if you're looking for a credit union personal loan with bad credit, after checking your credit score, you want to actually ensure that you can repay the loan. Because the whole thing here is that, hey, listen, a credit union will give you a loan. Okay, I'll give you a loan. But how are you going to repay me? You got to actually think about that beforehand. Don't think about that afterwards, because the credit union they are going to ask you anyway. So, boss, I want you to ensure that you can repay the loan. If you're asking the credit union to actually lend you $10,000, hey, make sure you can actually take care of the monthly payments. Very important. Son, daughter, very important. The third thing I want you to do here, you need to understand that, hey, by the way, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. And so after checking your credit score and credit reports, ensuring you can repay the loan, right? Now is the time where you have to compare credit union bad credit loans. The cool thing is that you have credit unions that are nationally available. So it doesn't matter whether your seventh cousin was in the military and whatnot. No, you don't have to have military affiliation or professional affiliation. There is no biological restriction. There is no geographical. You have some credit unions that are available nationally. I'm talking about PenFed. I'm speaking about Connexus. I'm speaking about Consumer Credit Union. I'm talking about BlueFed. I'm talking about, so you do have a constellation of credit unions that are available nationally to anybody. So what you want to do here is that you got to see actually, the only thing is you got to become a member of those credit unions. So don't stretch yourself too thin. What you want to do is you want to actually become a member of 2 or 3 credit unions, and you want to test the waters and see which credit union could be better for you. Okay. And one thing I want you to do here is that you want to go to a branch, or you want to give them a call and ask them, what are the conditions? What are the conditions for me to get a credit for me to get a personal loan? And you could just tell them, listen, I have bad credit. Like, I'm around 500, 600. It's always better to tell the truth up front, especially in this economy, because lenders are a little scared. Everybody's trying to cover their ass because of what's going on on the stock market and whatnot. Banks are filing for bankruptcy and whatnot. So be actually forthcoming from the get-go. And if possible, trying to get pre-qualified. So it's just a lot better, because you already have a bad credit score. So anything you can do to actually preserve the score that's already bad. Like, in other words, don't get a hard pull right away, right? Go with a soft pull. So if you find a credit union that actually can take care of you with a soft pull, go after that. So all those things you gotta ask. You gotta ask. We have covered this on other shows. We have credit unions that actually do soft pulls for members. Okay, you have CCU. They do it in some places in the country. You have PenFed in some cases also does have a hard pull. Not hard pull, a soft pull on their website. So you do have a catalog of credit unions that actually will help you pre-qualify. The next thing I want you to do here is to look into secure loans. Okay. Secure loans are, I know you don't want to hear this, because secure loans means you have to actually pledge collateral. Yes. It is a bad thing. It is a sad thing. That's true. By the way, I just want to quickly remind you of the topic. We're having a conversation about how to get a massive credit union personal loans with bad credit. Okay. So I was just talking to you about secure loans. The thing is, sometimes people are scared about secure loans, especially when it comes to credit unions, but they really do not understand how things work. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have bad credit, right? But you have your fully paid car. And your bad credit is just a result of, let's say, past miscalculations, past financial miscalculations. Like you kind of effed up in the past, financially speaking. So this is why you actually find yourself right now, like, in a situation where nobody wants to be. You're like a 300, 400, or 550, whatever. But you do have a fully paid car and you're doing well financially. Like, you have a good job, but because you actually effed up in the past, it takes some time to actually the detriment, the derogatory mark on your credit. It's taking a while to actually wash off, right? But if you do have assets, you can pledge those assets to get the loan that you need, because you're doing good already. See, we always say on this show, if you have bad credit, you can't be broke. You cannot be broke, because actually this will be a double. This will be too much. If you have bad credit, at least you got to have something going for you, which means you got to have a solid job. You got to produce decent revenue, decent income, boss. And the next thing I want you to think about, if you're trying to get a credit union personal loan for bad credit, think about adding a cosigner. Let's say, look into your entourage. I know the economy is kind of bad right now. Everybody's trying to cover their ass, whatever. But hey, listen, if you have somebody trustworthy who is willing to vouch for you, economically speaking, talk to them. Just make sure when you go to the branch and you're talking to the credit union loan officer, make sure that you bring the cosigner along from the start. Don't do it at the end. Like, don't start a conversation with the credit union. Say, I'm looking for a personal loan, but I have bad credit, and you don't tell them about the cosigner, and then at the end you bring the cosigner into the picture. This is really bad, because this is going to it's going to reset your loan criteria. Don't do that. The next thing I want you to do here is to gather financial documents. Okay. And it's one of those things where sometimes people say, well, loan approval documents are standards, but they're not standard. Some credit unions are flexible. We've seen, like, for instance, PenFed is really flexible, depending on the geography you find yourself in, depending on the state where you are at. Okay. CCU is kind of cool too. You have BlueFed is kind of cool. We have Connecta. Connecta is a great credit union. They do a lot of great stuff there. So the point I'm trying to really say here, the point I'm trying to make here is that when we talk about gathering financial documents, you need to make sure that you talk to the branch, that you have a clear idea about the type of documents they want you to have. Normally, you should have things like your personal contact info, your driver's license, or another form of personal identification, personal loan info, such as why you need the loan in the first place and how long of a term you want, right? If you remember from the get-go, from the start of this conversation, I was asking you to make sure that you can repay the loan, right? I spoke about that. So you want to have your federal tax returns for the last 2 years. This is important. You want to have your most recent bank statements for all bank accounts, recent pay stubs, utility bills, or mortgage statement to verify your address. And so once you have all those things, be prepared to have a hard credit check. So your credit score is going to go down for another 10 points, but it is what it is, okay? And in some cases, there are some credit unions that actually can qualify you without checking your credit score. It is not that really frequent, but it really depends on the relationship you have with them. If they know you personally, remember, credit unions, unlike banks, are more family oriented, so to speak. Okay, they love to have those local tiny relationships. Okay, so if you are known in the neighborhood, or everybody knows you in the region or in the city, for instance, and so you can actually parlay that great relationship, you can parlay that great reputation into getting a personal loan from a credit union without a credit check. Now, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We're having a conversation about how to get a massive credit union personal loan for bad credit, how to get it fast. Okay. So here is the overview I want you to really keep in mind, because it's not really something that is always happen. It's not frequent, because first of all, you have fewer credit unions than banks. I mean, you have national banks, you have regional banks, you have state banks, you have community banks, you have rural banks, you have you have city, you have many banks, but you don't have that many credit unions. Okay, so the type of bad credit loans you will find at credit unions will be fewer than what you would find at banks. Okay, but usually you'll have things like a bank agreement loan, cash advance loan, home equity loan, a home equity line of credit, a HELOC, which is not technically a loan, but it is like a lending product. You're going to have what you and I know, that's the installment loan. So when we talk about credit union personal loan, bad credit, a lot of folks believe, a lot of folks understand that we are speaking about an installment loan. Okay. And so because when you think about it, an installment loan is really an umbrella term that includes personal loans. It's basically the type of loan that lets you borrow a specific amount of money and pay it over time. You also have payday loans, right? Now, some credit unions will actually dabble into the whole payday loan sort of market. So but payday loans, they don't really give you a lot. I mean, if you're looking for $500, okay. If you're looking for $1,000, that's okay. I mean, maximum $1,500, $2,000. But if you're looking for 10 grand, if you're looking for a 5-digit or 6 digits for that matter, you're not going to get it through a payday loan, okay? And but the bottom line here is that in some cases, you may have to look elsewhere. I mean, if you don't get a loan through the credit union, you may have to say, oh, you know what? What is my plan B? What is my backup plan? What is my plan C? Okay. And sometimes you have to go to a peer-to-peer platform, like a P2P platform, such as Prosper or Lending Club. Okay. And those are actually good places to have to find loans for bad credit and at affordable rates. Okay. Now, I'm not going to guarantee you that you'll find a loan at single digit APRs, but you will find something. Let me give you a bonus here. If you have been listening to me so far, I really appreciate it. The thing you need to understand here is that when we talk about getting a credit union personal loan with bad credit, and you want to get a massive personal loan, okay, it's important to understand that a loan costs more with a low credit score. I just want you to really get that in your mind and keep it there. Don't let anybody razzle dazzle you. People telling you, yeah, you can have a bad credit and still have a low APR, no, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. If you have bad credit, your APR is going to be around 15 to 20%, depending on the institution. Even if you are getting it from a credit union. Credit unions are not charities. They are nonprofits, but they're not charities. Okay. So they're not actually going to give you free money, so to speak. So just be aware that your loan will cost more, and accept that. You have to accept that situation. Okay. And please, you want to stay away from all the predatory lenders, because those are they really prey on people with low credit scores. I mean, we have covered this on this show. We have you have the payday lenders. You have all the cash loans, the cash lenders. I'm not saying that all the payday lenders are predatory lenders. No, I'm just saying in that community, you do have a few lenders whose practices are not good. Okay, and it's not just me who's saying it. I mean, the regulators have said this over the last few years. Okay, and you also want to read the fine prints. So anytime you are signing a new loan agreement, please make sure you are reading the fine print, especially if you have bad credit score, because a lot of times what we've seen is that some lenders love to bury some details, some detrimental details in the fine prints that would be really, really, really bad for you if they were to actually activate it. Okay, if the lender were to activate those fine prints, those clauses. So it's really important to actually read, especially if the amount is high. If you're getting let's say you're getting a 25,000 or 30,000 or 50,000 or even $10,000, and you have bad credit, make sure that you read the fine prints to make sure that you are comfortable with the conditions that the lender is actually asking you. Let me give you a few pro tips to close today's conversation. And one thing I want to say here is that it's true that we are talking about how to get a credit union personal loan for bad credit. And I just made a point that sometimes what you want versus what you can have are two different things, right? I mean, especially in this economy, a lot of folks are like, some banks are closing, some banks are going bankrupt. I mean, it's just crazy. So let's say you are looking for a credit union personal loan with bad credit. You've tried everything. Like you have 2 or 3 credit unions. You've spoken to them. They actually promised to look into your case, but nothing happened. Well, you just realize that they have been chickened out. They are chickening out on you, and they just covering their ass. Let's just say it point blank, okay? Which means you have to look at alternative lenders. They're not the cheapest, but they will guarantee, not guarantee, because nothing is guaranteed in this life, especially in this economy. But at least you have a chance that you will find something. Maybe not the 25 grand that you wanted originally, maybe not the 50 grand that you wanted originally, but you probably get 10,000. You probably get 15,000. But that's something. Start from there, boss. So those alternative lenders, you do have lenders such as One Main Financial. We have Avant. You have Landing Point. You have Upgrade. You have Upstart. We have covered all of those. We have actually reviewed. We have provided in-depth reviews of each of those lenders. Okay, and one thing I also want to say here is that when we talk about credit union personal loans, bad credit, you need to understand that don't forget about banks, regular banks also. I mean, the traditional lenders. And if you go back to what I said about having a relationship, if you have a relationship with a bank, I don't care how quote unquote complicated you think the bank is, they will lend to you. Because a bank makes money by lending, right? And if they are sure that your financial wherewithals are, I would say, are decent, like you're making money and you have your direct deposit going into your bank account, they see the cash inflows and cash outflows, and they can make a decision based on that liquidity trend. Okay, this is why, I mean, unfortunately for alternative lenders, you can't build a relationship, but with lenders, traditional lenders, and such as banks and credit unions, you can build a relationship. This is why I always say everything starts with a relationship. We actually call it MPR in our team. So multi-product relationship. So you're not just opening one product, you're actually opening a constellation of products. So you're opening, let's say, a checking account, you're opening a savings account. In some cases, some customers, they can open like a CD, a certificate of deposit. They can open, for example, a 3-month, it could be a 3-month CD. And in some cases, they can have a money market account. Okay. So the choices are really large here. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate today's conversation. I was just talking to you about how to get a credit union personal loan for bad credit, how to get it very easily. And so I spoke to you about checking your credit score and reports, ensuring you can repay the loan, comparing bad credit loans, getting pre-qualified, looking into secure loans, adding a co-signer if necessary, gathering financial documents, being prepared for a hard credit check, and looking for a lender without credit score requirements. Okay. Thank you. I'll speak to you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.